Hey all, it's Natalie, and I'm here with a Cherry on Top crafts today, and I'm so excited to show you what I've been working on. I have a Harry Potter mini album for a trip that we took to Universal Studios. We surprised my sons for their birthdays. They have 1 day apart birthday, 3 years and 1 day. And so I'm showing you that as a wax still stamp that I got at the park as my souvenir, and I'm going to use it in creation of this album. I'm using a foundations album in black from 49th The Market, and I'm showing you this is the 2-inch one. It already comes with a few inserts, and I've bought some extra ones to add lots of flips and folds. I added that little punched hole you can see so I can add a grommet and a little loop to eventually add a charm when I get one made. Now I'm inking up all the papers that I'm going to use for the outside of the album. So I have everything is going to be backed in a cardstock. So I chose this maroon cardstock, and then I have this Harry Potter paper with the glasses and the scar, and that is from Paper House Productions. In retrospect, choosing a bright white cover paper was probably not the best idea because I don't know how well it will hold up, but it sure does look cool. This piece is going to be the spine, and so I did want to add a little bit of the wax seal on the spine, but I am testing it out first. So these tags are left over from a long time ago when we had a Harry Potter birthday party, and so I decided it would be a good place to test my wax seal, and obviously there was way too much wax there. I'm glad I tested it out. What am I doing here? Oh, I'm poking the hole. I was making sure I had the hole in the exact same spot for when I add it to the spine of the actual album. Now I've put in less wax, and I'm going to apply it directly onto the spine there. I'm doing this before I adhere it to the actual album. I decided to stick in a nice little owl feather as well, and then I stuck a little more wax on top of the owl feather. And then I placed my seal there. I let it stay for just a few seconds, kind of start drying, and then I lift it up. So that way the image gets stuck down there nicely. I'm happy with how that looks. And so everything you'll see me stick down today has tons of adhesive on it because it is a OTTP outside the page protector layout, and everything is going to need to uphold well over time. Hopefully lots of people will want to look at it. Hopefully my kids will want to look at it over and over again. So I want everything to be taped down really nicely. So I'm using my Crop-A-Dile to add the brad or the grommet in there. And then I have a jump ring just because that's easier than actually sticking a hook from the charm through the spine. So now I'm going to work on the back. Before I stick down the other paper, I'm actually going to pull that cardstock back up. I'm using this velveteen ribbon. I'm going to put one on the front and on the back. And I just put a ton of adhesive on it again, stuck it down with the background paper and the foreground paper. That way it's got two pieces of paper over it. So hopefully you can't feel the bumps of the ribbon too much. And this will be the enclosure. And so I plan on this album being pretty chunky. So I will just I made sure my ribbon was nice and long. I'll tie it up with a bow. They do have some of these. Graphic 45 also makes albums pretty similar to this, but they're more of a straight rectangular look, like a book, and they have an enclosure already, like a magnetic enclosure. And so I actually asked Jessica Harvey from A Cherry on Top, asked her advice before I decided on this one, because she said this one you can probably fit more things into. So that's why I went with this one. If you have a more finite, I bought it before I knew how many pictures I had, and of course I knew I would have a ton, but if you have a more finite or a smaller amount of photos, then you probably could use the one that had the magnetic enclosure. In fact, I'm still not sold on the fact that this is going to be my only album. I might have two, who knows. I'm working on the front, the title page, if you will. It's going to say Letter to Hogwarts, because that's the whole reason that we went, was they got a letter to Hogwarts. He turned 11. He received his letter. Lachlan got early admission. So I used my Cricut to, I downloaded the font for free online. I cut it out with my Cricut in some black glitter cardstock from Memory Box and my 6x6 paper pad. And now I am creating just a little medallion to go in front with the Hedwig, because Hedwig, or an owl, is who brings your letters. The first time I stuck that down, I didn't realize how transparent the sticker was. I think these are Paper House Productions as well. They're from the store. I'll try to remember to link it down below. Definitely check out the blog though, because they are linked on the blog and in the gallery. So I had to kind of cut it out and back it into white cardstock and then place that on top of the other sticker that I had already placed because I didn't want it to be so see-through. But I'm really happy with how that looks. It's just pretty simple, but it kind of gives you like a little hint or a nod to what is waiting for you inside the album. And also, this is a really long video, so I just wanted to make sure to show you kind of how everything came together, because sometimes I see people do all of the reveal of their final album, but it's not really shown how they are assembled and come together. And so I just like to show you that, especially on this. So this is the flip folio with the jagged edges, and it's pretty self-explanatory. That's going to be my first page. It's going to flip out. However, the next thing you'll see me do is the waterfall foundation, and I couldn't really find a great video online, and I kind of had to figure it out myself. It wasn't too difficult, but I did want to kind of slow down my process a little bit just so I could talk you through it. So you can see me looking at all of these, and basically they each have a very flat portion that is folded. They have definitive fold lines when it comes to you. And basically you're gonna put your adhesive on between those fold lines and layer everything up in a tiered manner as you see there. And I'm gonna show you in a minute. And then you kind of put this little strip up there, and then there's little magnets that come with it. But again, that's all well and good to hear about. I actually want to show you. So that's what we're going to get into. Sorry if this video is a little long. You can feel free to fast forward, but that is why it is long. So first I'm going to stick down the jagged folio. I like the jagged one for Harry Potter especially, because I felt like it was, you know, everything needs to be distressed for that world, the wizarding world. So that's what I'm doing with all the papers. I'm roughing up the edges and rubbing my ink pad along them to make them nice and distressed. And I'm making sure to keep this black border around the edge of everything. So there I'm sticking a lot of adhesive only on between the fold lines. So those between those two scored lines, it already comes that way. I'm going to stick it down, and I'm going to stick it right up flush against that bottom score line. So there you can even see my hair. I'm making sure I get it just so. And that way you have room to add some chunkiness, but you can still flip it, and nothing's gonna kind of stop that up. And then you flip it and you have each side that you can create on. Right here is the little strip. I'm showing you, I'm gonna move it over towards the left, and this is why, because I'm going to use that strip to enclose the waterfall. It will contain a very strong magnet that comes in the set. I didn't want any chance that the flap would get stuck with the magnet over onto that metal ring that you see that's going to be holding my charm. So that's why I moved it all the way over to the left instead of placing it what would probably be the typical way, which would be in the middle. So I'm going to decorate my little flap first. I found this like planner border sticker from an old Paper House Productions collection. They have a lot of licensed Harry Potter stuff from Paper House Productions, and it's all really nice too. Like, it's not like cheesy. I really appreciate that. And so I'm gonna stick down with some adhesive, the magnet to that little spot, and then of course it will be covered in more adhesive because I'm going to stick down this piece with a ton of adhesive on it. And then there's like a little backing card. So I'm gonna sandwich that strip with the magnet between my pattern paper and the little backing card that it came with. So I'm just working to make sure that it's perfectly centered there and that you can see a black border all the way around. I cut my pattern paper just to be so like that. And now my magnet is not going to go anywhere. And now my waterfall has begun. I'm going to go ahead and put tons of adhesive on the back and stick it to the inside of my album because I know that's where I want it to go. And then I'll build the pages on the pattern paper and kind of add them as we go along. So I'm going to try to keep it pretty simple since this has been so long, but I did want to show you how to do that. Do you see how shiny my plate is? That's because look at that paper. So that's the opal iridescent glimmer foil, and it's beautiful, But you need to put it on your plate immediately upon taking off the roll, because otherwise it's really impossible to tell which side is right and which side is wrong. And that's how I foiled my plate. But that's okay. It turned out good. But it looks amazing on that dark cardstock too. You'll see me pull that piece back out here in a moment. So I'm just going to work from the top of my waterfall down. On the back side of this flip out, I have put all my journaling, and it's just some journaling about how we surprised the boys, what we did about it. I have shared tons of videos online about our little reveal. It was so fun, but check out the rest of my channel. I think they're in my shorts of how we revealed to them that we are going to Universal. It took them a minute to get it. It was so fun though. It's literally something I've been dreaming about for forever. So I was really thankful that we could make that a reality. We just like yanked their butts out of school for a few days too. So they thought that was really cool, which their teachers were really understanding, and we don't really miss much school. So it's cool. So that was a 4x4 card. I cut it down a little bit from Echo Park's Witches and Wizards collection. So I'm showing you that I do want to add the other side of the magnet so that this will be enclosed. So before I put this witch paper down, I put the magnet in the exact spot where it should be, except I put it on the wrong side, the polar opposites. I didn't do that right. So I had to pull the paper back up and like switch it around. But now the magnets stick together. So that worked out. And I have 4 little steels. I actually didn't really take a lot of pictures at their little makeshift birthday party that we had. It was just like their grandparents and their aunt and uncle coming over to reveal the surprise and give them the gifts. But I had to take these shots from the videos that we took because we were just videoing them. And it's still like, they're so clueless. They had no idea. The dogs weren't home when they got home because we had already taken them to the dog sitter, and I was so worried about how they were going to notice. No, y'all, they didn't even notice the dogs weren't home for like 2 hours. They didn't even notice the dogs were gone because they were already at the dog sitter because we were leaving first thing the next day. Like, I'm telling you, these kids are clueless. But it was so fun. And they were really appreciative, which I liked. It felt nice that they really appreciated that it was a big deal. So this paper, I didn't really have like a Harry Potter paper I wanted to use because I was mostly taking pictures of our travel. Although we were all Gryffindored out. In fact, none of us are probably Gryffindors, but that's neither here nor there. So I decided to kind of use like the pink into the maroon color scheme here. And I used a travel stencil by Vicki Boutin. And I found that the 49 & Market collections are all very grungified and kind of old-timey enough to really work well for Harry Potter. So I'm using a bunch of the rub-ons, which are some of my favorite things, around the photos, as well as just a few little chipboard pieces. And then I have some luggage from Harry Potter, some trunks. So all of those came together to document the travel. So this is us at the airport. We actually left on Lachlan's birthday, so he's like having his birthday donut at Voodoo Donuts and everything. You'll see me, I had that was just like a piece of paper. I usually find something to put down because I'm not sure like what ink I have maybe going on there on my glass top, so I didn't want to accidentally like get ink smudges on our faces or something like that. So I stuck both of those down really well, and you'll see me flip through this again at the end. Now there's my foiled piece that you see. I'm just using the sun rays a little bit of us standing in front of the world globe thing at Universal when we first started, and it was The Adventure Begins. We stopped right before we went in there. So I'm going to add some washi at the top. It's some silver, so that kind of goes with the it's called opal, but really it's very much of an iridescent color hot foil that you see there. And so it worked well with that silver star. And then I have this black and white stripe. And so I ripped it down the middle to give it that, again, Harry Potter distress look. And then I'm just adding extra Nuvo adhesive underneath the washi to make sure that it sticks really nicely. Always, again, giving my treatment to the photos and the cardstock around them and everything else. Roughen up the edges, inking them up in black distress ink. So again, tons of adhesive on everything because we're OTTP. That goes at the top, and the next one we're going to work on is going to be us standing, or the boys in front of Grimmauld Place, 12 Grimmauld Place. If you read the books, this is before you go into Diagon Alley because it is out in London. It is the Noble House of Black, but they have a defector and he uses it to house people that are against everything that his house stands for, which is nice. So we're going to use the Slytherin colors here, and because their house was a direct descendant of Slytherin, I'm pretty sure. And I have this stamp as like an old skyline stamp from Tim Holtz that I have of the skyline of London. So I heat embossed it in gold. I fussy cut the snake, the Slytherin snake, and I did some stamping to help with my title. So it's going to say Noble House of Black, because we're standing in front of the Black's house at number 12 Grimmauld Place. And at the bottom finishes out the address. Yes, 12 Grimmauld Place, or just Grimmauld Place, because I don't have 12s. I don't have numbers in those stamps that I use. They're like a typewriter font. But I'm like, you know what? It says 12 in the picture, so I didn't need to say 12 on the title. So that's how I got around that. So you can see I there at the top is where that strip is that you applied the adhesive to make the waterfall. And I could add some washi in there, but I kind of like it black. I think I'm just going to keep it black. So lastly, this is the last flip of the waterfall, and we have entered Diagon Alley at this point. Actually, in this, no, we haven't. We're about to, but in Diagon Alley, Hagrid makes the bricks magical and they move, right? And so I loved this paper. This is from the Reminisce Wizards 101 collection. Reminisce has another collection that's Wizards 102. Both of them are still in stock at a Cherry on Top, which is really nice. And so they have lots of really cool backgrounds that are very Harry Potter themed. And so again, I'm using this 49 Market ephemera pieces that work really nicely with the distress look and the travel look. There's like tickets and stubs and everything. I even had that little envelope there. It's from the Eucalyptus collection, and you could stick a little journaling card. So that's a fun interactive element. Since I'm outside the page protector, I can do those interactive things where no one has to reach inside a page protector to pull out the journaling, which I really like. And then I just use the negative space in the photos to add some of those really cool clear stickers that come from Paper House Productions. And they're usually they're all like gold foil, so they're really pretty. So I did one at the top, so I decided to mimic that down at the bottom on the envelope. And so I pulled down my journaling bit, and I realized that this side of the strip that holds the card up needs a little title. So this one that says The World of Wizards from the Reminisce 101 sticker sheet was absolutely perfect. And I'll just do a quick little flip through for you. So there we are revealing. There's our travel pages with the stenciling that I did and the 49 Market rub-ons. There we are, the adventure begins. There we are at Grimmauld Place. There we are right in front of King's Cross Station. And lastly, we met Stan from the Nice Bus. And so I just wrote a little bit about it. I hope you enjoyed this. Check me out on the Cherry on Top vlog. It will have links to all of the products, as well as in the gallery. I've linked all the products. I'll try to throw some links down below as well with my affiliate links. I'd love for you to use those. Let me know if you have any questions, and stay tuned because I'm sure I'm going to be making a lot more pages in this album. I'm having a ton of fun with it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'd love it if you'd like and subscribe. Bye y'all.